well-known defense attorney Jim Bergenn. He joins us now to help really sift through some of the legal issues resulting from today's developments.
As we always know, Jim is not personally involved in the Dulos case, but following it closely. And so, Jim, let me just ask you first off, what do you see as the most significant legal issue affected by today's developments?
Well, the prosecutors have to follow his medical condition, because right now he could go anywhere from totally back to good to dead. And if he has some diminished capacity in the middle, the next issue is whether he has sufficient competence to be tried. Competence depends on two things: your ability to understand the proceedings and your ability to cooperate with your lawyer. So the prosecutor's got to see what that is, because if he's not competent, this thing could be postponed indefinitely, which really raises a question for the secondary defendants, who are there principally to give them evidence against him.
When you talk about Michelle Troconis and Kent Whitney, those two defendants.
Right, because from reading the public information, it appears that there's pressure there. They have been sitting down, which looks like cooperation, but I can't see him trying a murder case against those folks if the killer is not competent. I'm getting way ahead of myself because I don't know what the medical condition is.
Right. You know, here's another question that I had for you. When we were listening to police who were on the scene of his Jefferson Crossing home in Farmington, will the investigation here into this attempted suicide allow police to enter the home with search warrants? It sounded like they were saying, hey, we have some legalities here. Farmington police need to work with state police and the state's attorney's office. You know, what ramifications could this have on, I guess, both cases here? If something was even found, we don't know that yet.
Well, first of all, the rights that the three of us enjoy under the Fourth Amendment are diminished when you're out on bond. You still have some rights, but they're not the same. Secondly, just the mere attempt, or the apparent attempt, to take one's own life while they have bond conditions which require them to show up in court, I think gives probable cause to see whether there's evidence in the home that might help bear on the issue before the judge. What's the right bond now? Because now, if the judge was thinking about changing the bond, this is going to make a big difference, because it's no good if you can meet your financial obligations but you take yourself out.
So as of this evening, are all of the cases just basically in limbo, waiting to see what happens with Fotis Dulos and how long he takes to recover, if he recovers? We were talking about, there was the lawsuit filed by Gloria Farber seeking to recover money she says was a loan, he says was a gift. Even the divorce proceedings were continuing, as we understand it. This would seem to sort of cap off the child custody issues at this point, but does everything just stop and wait right now?
No. Now, that's just for the short term. We're probably going to know within 24, 48 hours what his medical condition. And these cases are moving, but they're not moving so fast that they can't see what goes on in the next 24, 48 hours. The civil cases are going to proceed. No matter what his condition, they have a right and a duty, in fact, to resolve that dispute about the finances. And I think he's already taken the stand, so they really don't need him further on that. The custody issue, well, it's a new material information. Already he was not getting custody. It's going to be a lot harder to get custody after a suicide attempt, if that's what this appears to be. So the criminal cases are not really technically frozen. They're still proceeding. They're just proceeding while the prosecutor's got to do some thinking.
And it also seems that some of those cases, like the civil case, can move forward even in the event of his death, because then there would still be an estate that could be sued.
Now, somebody else pointed up that whatever he likely has in his will, whatever he has upon his death, would probably be available to his kids anyway. That's how most people set it up. Who knows? But they do have to go look at that issue. And that's not something I think that Norm Pattis has been hired for. So it might have been something that Malwini might have normally handled, but he's clearly not suitable. So they got some thinking to do. But you are right that those civil cases are likely to proceed.
All right. All right. Jim Bergenn, thank you for joining us again tonight. We appreciate it.
All right. We still have a lot more to get to on the